Order, please. Start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
President Warner?
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Horowitz?
Here.
Trustee Pell?
Present.
Trustee Stafford?
Here.
Trustee Welker, I assume, is on her way. I haven't heard from her. We have a quorum present, sir?
All right, very good. I see. Did Joe Lombardo contact you?
I passed out his correspondence to the
Okay.
board, and I also sent it via email.
Yes.
Would you want to take exec session first, or look at the signs if you do?
Maybe we'll wait and hold off to the end, so that way we can get the rest of the meeting going here. We have quite a bit of stuff to do.
This way, maybe Ann will be here by then.
Yes.
Participate in the exec session.
Oh, there she is.
Good.
Hi, Ann.
Yeah.
All right, the first thing on the agenda is signage. I was contacted by Trustee Welker and a couple of the local residents in the North Sea area about the alewife drain, and the alewives are starting to propagate there to get up in the pond to spawn, as they are in Mecox Bay and in Shinnecock Bay and all the other embayments. The last week or so they've arrived. The signage that is in the LY drain, North Sea Harbor, is in very poor condition, basically unreadable. It's Billy's area, so do you want to discuss it, Bill? I mean, I got it right here. It's pretty...
Yeah, I spoke to Vicky about having these signs, new signs made up a while ago. I
Okay.
think that we should. I think Blue said he needs a couple of signs in Sag Harbor.
Yep.
So I think we should actually, Blue said there's a total of 12, but we should buy
6 and 6,
6 and 6.
but that's only 6 spots, because they go double. I think we should double that amount.
Yeah, well, at least buy a couple extra ones.
Huh?
24 signs?
Well, no, 24, and then we got extras, because you know they're gonna get knocked down, or,
Well, we're getting them in, are we getting them in, is this a single sign as it is here now, or is this a double sign? One that is in English and one is in Spanish, correct?
Yes.
So, are they two signs on the same sign, or are they going to be independent of each other?
I don't think, they're 24 inches wide.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be two
Yeah,
I think
well,
it's two separate ones.
Yeah.
separate ones.
Right?
no, I just want to make sure,
I
so.
think.
Okay.
It says 6 English and 6 Spanish.
they're separate
Yeah.
signs.
They're separate.
So, the proposal is to increase that to 12 and 12, correct?
Yes.
So that would double this.
Yes.
Okay, so increase to 12 and 12 on both signs? Both to 12?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And would it be okay if we put them up on Noyak Road and on North Sea Road?
Yeah,
At
because
those two?
we should do that.
Good.
Yes, there are two
And you should put
places.
it across the street too on North Sea Road, on either side of the street, so that's,
Yes, so 12 signs would definitely, 12 of each would definitely be needed then, all right?
Great.
So it's going to require, since it's going to be over $1,000 now, resolution.
Yes, so we'll put it on for Friday. I mean, sorry, for next Monday.
For Monday, yep, okay, 12 and 12, very good.
What about the other sign he's got here, no vehicles
Yep,
beyond?
that's the next point. We need no vehicles beyond this point. It's emergency beach closure, the resolution that we did at the last meeting, closing the area between Shinnecock Inlet and Ponquag. We need to put signage there for the beach drivers to realize that they're not supposed to go beyond this area. Do we have a total of how many that Richie proposed?
No.
It was in the email.
I thought it was,
Did you think 6?
I thought 6 was the number.
I can check the email.
Well, if you're gonna get 6, then maybe we should have a couple extras so they're on hand again.
yeah.
They get
Yeah.
damaged or stolen.
All right, I mean, you want...
Because we can use them in other areas too, if we have to.
Well, we can probably put them down in Mecox,
Well,
too.
it's a good
And we
idea to have
closed it.
extra. Because if it is an emergency, you're not going to have time to go get, this way we
Yeah.
have it
Right.
on hand.
Well, we can use them at Mecox and at SAG when we do the opening, because it's an emergency closure of the beach,
Right.
because we're doing the dredging, so I think we should get 12 of these also. So we can put them on the same order, so when we order the 24 of the other signs, we would get 12 of these also. So
12
the
signs?
resolution would
Okay.
reflect this, okay?
Yep.
All right, very good.
Good.
Good. That's good. Canoe Place Road, I've gotten a couple bits of correspondence, which I forwarded to the board. I've had a couple conversations with the local fire department in Hampton Bays, a couple of the EMS people that, run the ambulance out of Hampton Bays also. They would like to see the name change to go forward. I know we had a public hearing on it. There were some questions that were never formally answered, and a lot of the people in the area were never given a notification. Couple discussions I had with Trustee Pell and a couple of the other board members. It seems that if we're going to put this out for a public hearing again, that we should send a mailing out to all the people that live on Canoe Place Road from the whole entire length of it. So they're all notified. Why are we doing this? In the name of public safety. That way, they are well-informed and educated, so we can address their concerns if they come to the meeting.
I believe there was also a letter that I had provided for the record from the county clerk concerning deeds and mortgages that you could also perhaps enclose, right?
Yes,
Sure.
That's part of the
that's true.
information.
So, yes, so that would be an informational packet that would be sent to the homeowners.
And I think we should target, if we're gonna have a public hearing on it, do it in like end of June, so if the people are in Florida or away, they'll be home by then.
Yeah, but by the time we get the public hearing process going, it'll probably be the June-ish, right?
We should include in that packet all the letters that we got from the police chief, whoever, fire chiefs,
Yes.
or invite them right here to speak.
Yes, I agree. I think this is something that should be done. Some issues in the past, I think we can have them resolved, and we can make it a better, safer place for everybody. All right?
Yep.
So there's gonna be a resolution on at some point for
A public hearing.
public hearing, so do you wanna, while we're talking about it, do we wanna set a date now so we can,
Yes.
Sure.
so what date is it that you're talking about?
Meeting dates.
Because I don't think we meet a lot in June, right?
You want to go to June, Martha?
Say
Yeah.
early,
Well, that's-
early
that's
June?
what Trustee Pell had suggested.
Okay,
was during
June 3rd is the first meeting in June, and June 17th
So we'll do a
is the second
public
meeting.
notice that
June 3rd
we're
is
going
fine.
to start a hearing on June 3rd?
Yeah, that's fine.
Are we all good with that?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
All right.
So that would be, the meeting would be held on the 3rd?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, so it would have to go on, the notice, Martha, would have to go on for the 20th of May.
And when would we be sending the mailing out? Prior to the meeting, the public hearing, or?
Absolutely. Well, we would probably send that mailing out as soon as we adopt the resolution
For the notice.
for the notice of public hearing.
Okay.
Sending that out, because that contains what the notice of the public
Okay,
hearing
so-
will be,
so-
and we can have the other inserts, such as the letter from the county clerk's office.
So the material will be May 20th, we would adopt it. Is that what you're saying?
Right, so on or after May 20th, we would send out the mailing. So in preparation of that, we can already get the mailing list compiled together, and that way,
Right.
it's just a simple mail merge.
Good, so let's do that. Let's get it started. Let's put it on the agenda for May 20th for a June 3rd hearing,
Okay.
and let's have the
And the
packets
office
done to
staff
go
can
out of
take their
meeting.
time compiling all the mailing addresses.
Yes, and they can do a nice job with that, complete.
All right.
Okay.
Next item on the discussion is Mecox Bay duck blinds. Normally, we ask the hunters to have them out, or the regulation is to have them out by, I believe, April 1st. The bay is very low again, and I've been contacted, as has Richie Franks, the bay constable, about having the ability to remove the duck blind when the bay gets high again. So I know it's been a contentious subject over the years, leaving the duck blinds in later, but with them not being able to move the blinds because they're on dry ground, I think we should give them some time or reference when they should have them out of there.
I agree fully. I've been down there talking to a few of the people.
Yeah,
Nothing they can do about it.
no.
And it's sad, and depending on what's gonna occur Friday, that blind could be there all summer.
Yeah.
if they mandate us closing that and there's no water flush back and forth?
Yeah. Well, I mean, normally it just fills right up. That's
Right. Well, you know,
Do we want to set a date of maybe May 1st and revisit it at the next meeting prior to it? The one issue that I have with it, and I know is a lot of these duck blinds, they gather, goose nest or mallard nest or osprey nests. So once that happens,
Yeah,
it
then you're gonna have to
becomes,
stay,
then they can't be removed. So, we have to be cognizant of that.
unless the person goes out there and puts something up there to keep
Yeah.
keep it off.
well, if we're giving them the option for it to stay,
Yeah,
we're trying to help them out. They can try to help us out
yes.
and ask them to go out and check their blinds,
Well, a recommendation that was given to me a few years ago was just to put a blue tarp over top of it.
Yep.
And it would scare away the birds, and that way we wouldn't have that problem. So I don't know if we should contact the blind owners in Mecox, advising them that we're going to give them until May 1st, or the water gets high enough to remove their blind, but in the interim, they need to put either a tarp or something on top of it to discourage any birds from nesting on it.
Sounds good.
All right,
My recommendation would be to have a resolution for that for our next meeting,
okay,
extending the date to May 1st.
yes, and the reason why.
And having that posted on, part of the resolution would have it posted on our signboard, our website, and then, do we know on average how many duck blinds we have in Mecox Bay?
7, 8.
I'm going to say probably about just under 20.
Yeah.
Right, so it wouldn't be burdensome then to send a copy of that notice out to the
And we have
individual
all the
blind holders.
contact information.
Email
on-
addresses and stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
So
All
we
right.
could
A lot of
contact,
them are dual owners.
yes. Some can be removed. I mean, there are blinds that can be
Right, certain
removed.
creeks still have some water. I
Yes.
suppose.
Yeah.
But, the majority of them are not.
But once you get over to the ramps,
Yeah,
unless you're gonna put your truck trailer in the water,
yeah.
you might not get that
Well,
heavy blind out of the water.
And they can't get them into Hayground or Sam's Creek to store them for the summer because it's way too low.
Correct.
I think that's where a lot of them go is, inside, so. All right. Next item is the Lake Agawam parking process. I did have a conversation with Ross at GIS about the e-permitting. I guess there's an issue with it, right, Lisa? We had a
Yes, I
brief
thought-
discussion.
I looked at the video from when we had this discussion, and I thought that the board had come to a consensus that we were going to hold off until next year to roll this out. That seemed to be what the consensus was when I looked at the video. Maybe sending an email blast out to the current permit holders, telling them that we're going to have e-permitting available in 2020. I think that's kind of what the consensus was
Yeah.
at the last work session, so. And we could just continue business as usual that we normally do, right, Ed?
Yeah, I did have Jessica print out a copy of the village parking regulations and permits and stuff like that. There was only one copy in the office. I had asked her to make a few more for the end of the meeting.
Okay.
So maybe we can bring this up at the end of the meeting with that information so we can all look at it. They're a little bit further along than we are as far as, mailing and stuff like that. So the information's there. I don't have it with me, so I'd like to hold it over to the end of the meeting, all right?
Okay.
Bruce, you have repair.
There's a couple sections on Widow Gavich which are really torn up, and all they do is keep putting patch and patch. And to the best of my knowledge, and don't hold me to it, I think there was 750 square feet of what he's gonna dig out and put back in, and I think there was a cost of $24,000.
Okay, so do you have an actual 100%?
I do, down in my file.
I have the board should have a copy of the,
It was emailed to us.
Yes, it was 20.
Here's some information here.
yeah, the
Here's
board should have a
here's
copy of
information right
it.
here.
Well, maybe I got a copy of it.
You
I
do,
just-
It's right
There.
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Okay, right here.
Oh, thank you.
We got it right here.
Jessica.
Well, that's pretty
Thank you,
close.
Jessica.
Thanks, Jess. Skin patch, 766 square yards, $25, 19,150. If sub-base needs removed, unclassified excavation, that's 1,200, and asphalt true level is 4,050, total is $24,400.
Also, I put a copy of the fund balances, the trustee fund balances, in for everybody.
Okay.
While you're having the conversation, they could look at it. You could take a look at the line under FB restricted for road improvement. That's the line that we that we pay for road improvements out of. You'll see it down at the bottom even. You'll see that number, so you'll have that there as well.
We did some roads last year. However, I did get an estimate last year for Widow Gavitt's, and we chose not to do it.
Is there any new houses being built down there?
No,
No.
not that I know of.
No, I'm just curious because, what I used to do when we would have, money in an account, we would wait until the final, trucks were going up and down the road so the new paving wouldn't get torn up.
Well, the two sections of this, they're older houses in the beginning and in the middle.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks like a Swiss cheese went through there. And what the guy's gonna do, if they're going through there with snow plow and there's not a lot of snow on the road, if they tend to hit that section, they're gonna take out a 20-foot section at a time.
yeah, it peels right up.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, we're gonna have it torn up,
Yep, and redone.
redone.
It's just like they did Old Sidewell Road, Noyak Path. They cut it out, they put another section down. The only thing with this, he didn't know about the sub-base.
Yeah, that
He didn't know
was,
what he's gonna find, so that's why it's in there. We could save that money if it's not needed, but he had to put it in there just in case. When you remove it, you know what you're gonna run to. I think personally, that's right on dirt. I don't think there's no sub-base on any of it.
well, I know most of the roads that I did, there was never any
Right,
sub-base, it was
Right.
just paved over dirt.
Yep.
The last project that we did as the trustees on Canoe Place Road, we actually had them cut trees down, widen the road, put a sub-base down, vibrated it with a roller, and then paved over it.
the
And it
people on
stayed.
Widow Gavitt's are very thankful about our guys coming out and taking care of their needs as far as snow plowing, some tree work, and they're patching the holes, because Widow Gavitt's is a bad road.
Yeah, I think a lot of the trustee roads are in bad shape.
Well, we're gonna have to address it moving forward on the
Yes.
financial aspects, because as you folks can see,
We have,
there's 213, 960, 17 in that line. It's right down to,
we have very limited budgets.
right? So, eventually, it's gonna get down there. It's already pretty far down there, but,
Well, you know,
gotta maintain your infrastructure.
Well, I think once it gets down to the under $100,000, we're going to have to come up with a creative way to be able to maintain and manage these roads because the amount of building on them is very limited, and that's the only funding for this
Right.
road reviews.
I spoke to Assemblyman Thiel about it, and I've had conversations with Martha about it. We've got a couple of ideas on how to do that, where, we make a calculation in terms of how many miles of road, how many houses, how many lots are on there, and just like you would in an HOA or something. It's, you gotta have an assessment that makes sense for everybody. That way it's fair. You're not taking, things away from one aspect to deal with basically, people's private driveways, so.
It's true. I, just for informational purposes, and, I looked at how the East Hampton Village trustees handle their roads, and they have, they have like a road application for the instances where a trustee road is being improved just as access to someone's home. And there's, they have set standards, et cetera. That's mostly accomplished by Southampton Town's Road Review Committee. But the other thing that the trustees in East Hampton do is that they make each adjoining owner responsible for the cost. So they're already working on a similar system. I think that what Fred and what Scott and Assemblyman Thiel contemplate is similar along those lines, but really creating a little bit more of a fair apportionment, right? These Hampton trustees don't give you a ton of specific guidance on how you assess each adjoining owner, right?
So if you live on a trustee road, the road in front of your house, half of it, you would, the
Almost
length of it?
Almost like a subdivision HOA, you're responsible for how many feet you front to the center line, right? So the property owners on either side, they're all responsible for the maintenance of the road.
Right, so we would make a calculation, and then we would, have a
Now,
mechanism,
That's homeowner, or that's
lot owner, homeowner,
lot
whatever.
owner?
If you're a
Because
property
a lot of
owner.
ours are,
Like I said, East Hampton, it was not, they didn't really flesh out the details very well, so I'm sure people, right, because I know that when assessments are done here in Southampton, it's different, you know, pursuant to the Highway Law 200, when, you know, a private road is accepted into the highway system. There are different calculations based on whether it's an improved property, a vacant property. I don't think the East Hampton trustees are looking at anything quite as nuanced. And I didn't talk to anyone, I was just looking around on their website. But, you know, we sort of have a mechanism that we can follow, and Highway Law 200 can kind of act as a guidance if we're going to sort of assess something to properties living on a trustee road.
And we also have to think about the lots where there's paper roads in front of them with no roads at all,
Right.
because we have a lot of those.
Right, so we'll have to get around the table, and we'll have to make a determination so that there's a sustainability to that fund.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's finite, and that's not going to work.
When you say, when you say creative solutions, what are some of your thoughts?
Basically assess the
It's
linear.
gonna be
linear
like an
feet of-
assessment.
Yeah, linear feet of road frontage on each property. The only way we get funding from now is when a property owner decides to build on a trustee road, and for his final CO, after going through the road review, we get $19,000 for that, you know, lot.
or he makes the improvements in front of his place, upwards of 19,000. But sometimes you need a dry well, which are 7,000 each.
Yeah, and it has
But
to be
it's-
per
Right.
engineering specs for the highway.
But the 19,000, no way.
It was laid out wrong.
But between the staff, the equipment,
It's wrong.
the patch, the tree work, the snow plowing, and the man hours, where I think East Hampton Town's got a little bit better of agreement with their highway department, because I think the highway department helps them out immensely,
I think so too.
where,
Yeah,
not that I mind one way or another, you know, but we're gonna need certain equipment, because I think the homeowners deserve, you know, a level of, you know, us responding to them. I've tried to explain to everybody I've had a phone call with that we're not the highway department. We don't have 90 employees. We've got 3.5 on any given day, and we'll do the best we can. And most of them are good with it.
Well, we used to get a lot of complaints, you know, especially in the wintertime with ice and snow, and since we've taken that on, we really, it's no complaints. The guys have done a really good job with taking care of that throughout the winter.
Yes.
So we need to continue to build on it and work out a mechanism that's going to be sustainable for everybody. That way it's, you know,
Well, and perhaps even more economical for land and homeowners, right? Because rather than one giant $19,000 payment up front, it could be, you know, a small amount each year
Yeah.
to, you know, for the maintenance of those roads and et cetera.
Right.
Over the life of that road, right? So,
I mean,
you know, all things to explore.
Yeah, because it's not going to ever work, you know, you can see, that's why I had him bring up the sheet showing where that is. We kind of track it that way. And here's this one project's almost $25,000, right? That's going to take a chunk out of there. So,
Big chunk.
it's a
Yes.
chunk.
All right, so I think we got some homework to do before we get down below the $100,000 threshold,
we-
which, you know,
The conversation's been started, you know, like I say, we've had that, it's just, you know, which fire you want to put out first. But
There-
this is proactive, it's proactive, you know, handling of situations that you know can become problematic. You want to proactively get ahead of it, and that's why we had the conversation. And we'll, at this board, at future work sessions, get all of our ideas collectively together and figure out what's the best way
I
to go.
think a lot of this work has already been done. I believe John Watson had approached our board about 7 or 8 years ago, Billy, about unimproved road, trustee
Yes.
roads, looking into the town. I think there's been a lot of research done on this already, so it's
Gotta
somewhere,
find it.
it's
Well-
somewhere within the town here.
And actually now we can probably at a separate time talk to Kara about it, because she's inherited the highway, and has been working with Tom Neely and John Watson and the whole transportation.
So you're familiar,
I'm
yeah.
very familiar
So
with it.
Kara
because I
should
used
know
to be
about it too.
The highway
Yeah.
attorney, and they're still working on the unimproved road district, but that's a very complicated process.
Is that something that could fall under where we could use something like that? Or is that something that we would do
Well, so
separate?
I think where the project last was, and I may be misspeaking because last time was probably about 8 or 9 months ago that I attended one of their meetings, but there was a debate whether or not they would deal with trustee roads, because the goal with this special unimproved road district would almost be like a hybrid of Highway Law 200, which is the process where a private road gets adopted into the highway system.
Yeah,
So I don't think they were looking at trustee roads because, again, that's a deeper conversation for the trustees to have of whether or not they would want these roads to be improved to a town highway superintendent's specifications and the highway law specifications, and then be integrated into the town highway system. So that's a much deeper conversation, probably not one that was planned for this agenda today.
No.
But so, we can always get us an update on where the unimproved road district committee is on seeing if they can even get this special improvement district off the ground.
Because I think they did, because one neighborhood in Bridgehampton, not Bridgehampton, in Bridgehampton, they did the whole street. It's like a U shape. They put dry wells, and that's going into the highway department.
Well, I mean, you can do
Yeah,
that.
I think the
That
neighbors-
happens all the time.
Yeah, the neighbors
that's
got
town law
assessed.
200, and they all
Yeah.
get assessed.
Yeah.
This is a much bigger project that's spearheaded by John Watson, where the whole town would become an unimproved highway special improvement district.
So can't we just follow the suit which, like that neighborhood did with all the houses? They had a vote.
Well, that's
I think they got the majority, and then they got assessed, and they put the dry wells in and the
But you have to bring it up to certain standards.
codes. Yeah, that's what they did.
Yes and no. In that instance, most of those homeowners, right, you have to look at like where the ownership of the road comes from.
Yeah.
And a lot of those unimproved roads come out of subdivisions, right? So each of those owners may have a proprietary interest to the center line in that road, right? Whereas these roads are trustee roads, they're trustee property.
Different.
So it's a little bit different, and I wouldn't necessarily know. I'd have to do more research to see how that would work. But I think when Ed is referencing the trustees coming up with some creative solutions for the long-term maintenance of these roads and improving them, we would probably take the best parts of that Highway Law 200 procedure.
Make it our own.
Right.
But again, at the end of the day, it would still be the trustees' road unless the trustees, and again, I said that's a much
Yeah.
deeper dive than I think was
Yeah.
contemplated for the agenda today. Would you want to improve those roads to the standard so that they go into the town highway system and are accepted by the town, right? Instead of the trustees owning it. That's a whole different
That
conversation.
gives the old thing, the trustees can't give away land.
Right, that's a different conversation.
Different
We're talking about
conversation. So
really-
that's
we're
very
talking about
complicated.
maintenance of roads
But
here.
I
Let's-
think in
we're
terms of the
getting-
maintenance of the roads,
Yeah.
we can look at how a couple different systems do it and see if that works for
We're talking about
the
just,
trustees.
we're talking about sustainable maintenance of trustee
Yeah.
roads.
Yes,
That's
That's the
important.
goal.
and keeping them in
That's the
our
goal.
ownership.
Right, that's the goal.
That's,
Fair, sustainable funding to maintain trustee roads.
While we're on the same subject about maintaining, we should try to first control what we got. There's no control mechanism that I've found in the last 3 years I've been here. People do exactly what, when, and there's nothing to do, because I'm told nobody's got the authority to write anybody. So when they run their curbing right to the street and our snowplow runs into it, it's all our fault. Some of the people haven't been gracious enough where the town, not us, allows them to pave they stop their bricks, like say 20 feet before, and then they pave it. So if you hit pavement, it normally goes over it. But some people have gates, have posts, and it goes right to the street.
With respect to that issue, I think that, so the town code classifies trustee roads as private roads, but it does empower bay constables to write up violations on those roads.
Right.
But if you look at the blue book itself doesn't have a tremendous amount on trustee road specifications,
It's
so,
lacked on that.
what's that?
It's lacking on that.
So that's a gap that we should probably fill if we want to have specifications on, but I do also think that there's also a gap within the town process, because when someone, goes through the road review process, that's a town of Southampton process, right? It's the town of Southampton Road Review Committee.
That's correct.
So if they build outside or they violate the terms of their road review approval, then I would think there must be some mechanism for the road review committee's approval to be enforced, right? If they're
The only
not
thing-
living up to the terms and conditions of that approval.
We don't look, at the meeting that I've attended, we
Yeah.
don't look at driveways and stuff like that. All we look at is the structure, the house itself, the lot, if he's paid before, if he hasn't paid before. And that's what
And
we
getting a
approve.
fire truck or an EMS
Right,
vehicle,
right. And if-
public
if-
safety.
Turnaround.
Yeah,
And if we
that's-
want the money up front, or we want him to do improvements. But I don't see any mechanism whatsoever in that about denying anything. We've never denied anything. That's the building department, which is,
Yeah.
I think, totally different. But,
Okay.
you know, we don't,
Perhaps you and I can sit down and wrap our heads around the larger issues and see who we need to talk to in the town departments. I mean, I do think that, and Bruce, we talked about this back several months ago, and life just gets very busy and we haven't had a chance to do everything, but, and we can talk to some of the members of the town board about sort of creating better enforcement on trustee roads, because even though they're classified as private roads, they are used by the public as quasi-public highways, right? Old Sag Harbor Road is not just an access
Right.
point for people to get to their driveways like some of our other trustee roads. It's a veritable road, right?
It's a thoroughfare, I mean.
It's a thoroughfare.
we've sat down with our liaison. Nothing ever's done. I sat down with Tom Neely to try to at least get a few signs, speed limit signs. Because, at 4 o'clock, it's a national speedway on them roads.
Sure.
And the roads aren't as wide as they should be, or they're a trustee road, 2 cars come around the opposite way, they're gonna have a head-on. Or either that they're gonna clip a tree with a mirror.
Yeah.
They got signs near the pit on Old Sag Harbor Road. It says weight limit. Okay, it's a good thing, but I'm on that quite a lot, and every day I'm passing trucks, empty or full, nobody to enforce it. And that tears up a road.
Yeah, it does.
That's right.
All right, I see there's one person in here, in the audience, that would like to come address the board. Could you please come up?
You still have this, by the way.
I know.
Now you have the form.
I know,
Yep.
but I got,
Yeah, no, I got you. Just letting you know you got it.
you can come up and, please.
You can sit here if you want. If you want to.
So Thea R. Fry, 213 Old Wakeman Road, Hampton Bays, New York. Can't see. Sorry. Okay.
And?
So just to let everyone know that I'm running for Southampton Town Trustee, number one, but that's not the reason why I'm here. I'm here representing Ducks Unlimited. On April 6th, we're going to do a beach cleanup at North Sea Beach. And the reason why we're doing it at North Sea Beach is because a couple weeks ago when you had your trustee meeting at the Hampton Bays, one of the people in the audience came up. She's an artist. I forgot.
Carolyn Rocco?
Yes, thank you. And she was saying that there were a lot of shotgun shells and debris on various beaches, and North Sea Beach was one of them. So I went to Ducks Unlimited because I'm on their committee, and I spoke with them about it, and they thought we should tackle a few beaches through the spring, fall, and winter, and clean them up. So we decided on April 6th, we did North Sea Beach first because that was one of the higher numbers on the data that she had given me. And hopefully it'll be a nice community event. We're doing it from 9 to 12 on April 6th. And I wanted to alert the trustees that we were doing that because it came up at your meeting. And I was hoping, if there's any way that you guys could help us, maybe like remove any of the garbage or anything like that, we would
We
greatly
can have the
appreciate it.
maintenance, we can have the maintenance drop off the trail and pick it back up.
I didn't know if that is
We-
still,
We have done that for the surf
Yeah.
riders, we've done it
What
for,
days,
it's a Saturday, it's gonna be from 9 to 12.
and you said North Sea Beach, that's by Holmes's Hill?
Yes, we're gonna go to the left, because that's where she said she found a lot of it. We figured we'd tackle the biggest one first.
Did you take into account the tide situation? Make sure it's a low tide, because otherwise you
Yes.
can't get down the beach.
Yeah,
Okay.
What's the situation going to be with driving down there, to get down there?
I think most people are gonna walk, I think,
Yeah.
You sure?
so we could put the trail on the road, you'd bring everything to the,
I think so, I think that's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Because that, it's not ours, but that access point,
It's tough.
It's
is-
tough, yeah.
It's really steep and it gets worn away. And I don't know exactly what shape it's in now.
I'd
but-
have no problem, you know, the guys, I try to give them their weekends off, but I'll bring it down there, but there was a question raised last time I did this about insurance and who's climbing on a trailer, and so we haven't, I don't know if we clarified that.
How do you,
Well, does DU have insurance?
I have no idea. For a project like this?
Yes.
Correct.
I would have to check with them.
I mean, what did the board resolve? That we're going to require an insurance certificate from there, or we did not?
We didn't actually reach a resolution. We discussed that, yes, in this ever-increasing sort of litigious world, we could do that. We haven't in the past.
Right.
In terms of the trailer, it's a board decision on what they want to require, whether or not they want to see a liability insurance certificate, or if they would rather an organization sign a hold harmless. That's
Well,
a discussion for the board to decide in terms of their policy for aiding organizations in beach cleanups.
On the insurance on that trail, because a lot of times on trailers, the vehicle, what is hooked up carries the insurance.
No,
No, we're taking care of that.
Yeah, I know, but does that trail have its own insurance?
I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to get at, because when you hook it up to a vehicle, that usually.
That's right.
Well, we're gonna-
But if we're going to leave it there.
We're gonna leave it there, we're not
Yeah,
hooking
so
it up
it's-
to
No,
anything.
I'm talking about when it gets delivered
Oh, okay.
and,
That would
then
be
it's-
us
yeah.
and us leaving, but if it's on site, how about just a hold harmless?
Yeah,
letter
I
from the
think that's fair, because
organization?
I'm sure that the town has got the coverage in place to, because this is not something that's out of the norm.
Yeah.
No, we're just gonna put the garbage bags
Yeah.
in the trailer.
I
I
think
mean,
it's very,
I don't
very
think
simple.
no one's gonna climb on it or anything.
So
We won't
we-
let that happen.
Yeah, we could work this out.
Can you
Okay.
draft a hold harmless letter and give it to Thea so she get DU to sign it?
Yeah, I'm pretty
And-
sure I have your email address.
And,
Yeah. you should.
All right, so we'll plan on it then.
Yeah.
So is that okay for April 6th?
yeah,
Okay.
weather permitting?
We're gonna do it rain or shine?
Okay.
Do we
just
need a
call me the
resolution?
5th
or
and
is
remind me, and I'll meet you down there at 7 AM,
Okay,
and I'll get a hold of the guys, make sure it's empty.
okay, perfect.
Do we need a resolution for this, or is it sufficient? Letter of
No, I mean,
permission.
because a letter of permission is fine.
I just thought it was good to like inform you that we were doing
Yeah.
it because it was brought up during a meeting and
Yeah,
it
on the
reflects
back
all
of
of
it.
us.
That's great.
so-
I think anybody that comes and helps us, the town of Southampton out cleaning any beach for us, it's a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Because we don't have the manpower to keep anything with 3.5 guys. So I really appreciate it, so that's why I go out of my way, and I'd bring the trailer to Timbuktu.
Okay.
And it's true, because we've done this.
We don't have to
for
go
years.
that far, but,
Well,
No, we've done it.
It's a good cause.
yeah,
it's a
so,
great cause.
okay, so then I'm gonna check on the insurance, or are we gonna
This-
do?
No,
Just
she's
the
good.
letter. Just the-
So is that just like a release, kind of?
Yeah.
Hold harmless letter.
Okay,
Martha will draft it
okay.
and get it over to you to get signed, and we'll get back on it, right?
Yeah,
You have her email?
I do.
Okay.
What might be a good idea, though, might be to incorporate some education into this for the people who are mostly shooting skeet down there, so that they know to pick up, and also to ask if they know if they're shooting skeet that contains lead or stainless steel, because the
Or
lead is
steel, not
definitely,
stainless steel.
sorry, steel.
Good point.
Because the lead is definitely an issue, and from what I understand, the cheaper skeet contains the lead.
Cheaper
So-
Shells.
Shells.
Sorry, shells.
Yes.
Yeah, but, so, that's important.
But you don't.
That's
there-
important.
there are
Yeah,
no-
absolutely.
There are no regulations over skeet shooting as
Right.
far as what
Right.
material
Man.
can be used in the gun. I
I'm
can
impressed.
tell that. And most of the people use the lead because they reload them themselves. And most times the shells are picked up because they reuse the shells.
Right, but when they bend them too many times, they're done.
Right.
But if they are, anything you bring on, you should carry off.
Right,
Exactly.
but what's important here is, in particular, is that someone from the community complained, and since our organization is out there,
Yep.
it's important that we're getting a nice cross-section of the community to come and help us clean up. And while we're obviously cleaning everything up, we're gonna be explaining the importance of leaving with what you bring on.
I mean, DU is all about protecting the wetlands. It's all about
Absolutely.
protecting the wetlands, and we've supported the surf riders, Ducks Unlimited now, obviously, and, any organization, like Trustee Stafford said, that, wants to help,
Right.
we're trying to inspire people to step up and take their
Yeah,
time. and
so
work
here
with
we
us.
are.
I
Still
think
we
this
can.
is the first time Ducks Unlimited has ever done a beach cleanup, right? That's great.
Well, I've been on the committee for 4 years and we haven't, but it was brought to my attention, so I like to follow through. I mean,
Yeah.
despite running and being a candidate, that has nothing really to do with it because, you know,
It's the right thing
It
to
was
do.
front
It
and
is-
center at a meeting, so.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, what am I supposed to, and it's a good idea.
It's the right thing to do.
And I'm always saying that the kids should get more involved and more families should do more things like this. This is the perfect example. This is how we keep things nice and,
Yep.
so thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Jessica Gillespie has brought us the information that I had asked her to download. It's specifically to the village and their parking, beach parking permits, it's how they do it by mail, the fees that they charge, just for everybody's, education here. I know we had some questions about our fees and such like that. It looks like the fees that we're charging are considerably less than some of the others that the villages are charging, so I know we had a vote on it to change the fee schedule. There's been some questions. After looking at this, I don't know if you want to revisit it, but I feel pretty comfortable what we did. I know I had a conversation with Billy and Ann and with the rest of the board about this. I feel that, we did do a change. It was a considerable change, but we hadn't done one in a couple of years. If we had done it on a yearly basis, increasing the fees, it wouldn't be so drastic. My feeling is that it should, go through this year, and if there's a serious issue where people don't want to use our facility or there's a problem, that we should revisit it at the end of the summer. That way we can come up with a better plan for next year. So, I don't know, anybody else has any questions or anything? If not, I'd like to start working with the Bathing Corp, and as I know, they usually come in and ask for a bunch of the stickers that we give them to put on their vehicles that they sell over there. I'm going to meet with Martha and go over the criteria for non-resident. Basically, you don't really need anything other than the funding. Resident, it's going to be pretty much simple like this, and the daily pass would be the same as the non-resident. So.
What can you do about all the voids you get back?
That I really, I've asked Don to an explanation, and he said some of the people over there, basically, the way they do it, they use a car and then they give it in. So, do you want to come up with a specific way to handle the voids differently? I could ask Martha, maybe, I don't know how to best to do this, because I know we wouldn't issue any voids in our office.
Exactly. If you even look at how the village does it, they have in huge bold letters right there. There are absolutely no refunds for any beach permits or day passes once issued.
Right, right there.
I think that this board should come up with a policy with respect to the voids.
Similar.
Similar,
sense.
and honestly, I think that although it hasn't been done in the past, I'd like to see a resolution of this board regarding selling multiple permits to the bathing corp. And therein you guys could put in the terms that you agree to, that, there will be no refunds. That might discourage over purchasing, right? If they need more, then they just make a phone call up to the trustee's office and say how many more permits they may need of whatever type.
We do give
I thought
them
that-
in batches.
yeah, I thought that the voids had decreased because we were
Doing them in smaller
slowing
batches.
down the smaller batch. I think Ed, remember, I think we
Yeah, they decreased the number they were.
would, yeah, then they would have to come back and.
Yeah, we've issued a couple batches to them.
Yes.
Okay, so but I think the prudent policy moving forward would be to have a resolution of the trustees each year, just saying that they agree to sell a bulk amount of permits, because I think this is the only instance where the trustees issue a bulk number of permits to an entity. So that way, we're just formalizing and having an actual vote and a hard, fast decision of the trustees that we agree to engage in that practice. And like I said, in that resolution, depending on what the trustees want, you can state your policy for for the voids, whether or not refunds will be issued in that respect.
And I think moving forward, as the increase takes place, we'll, review it at the end of the summer. If is an issue with it, then we can always go back and rethink our fee schedule.
The fee schedule is set every year at the beginning of the
Yes.
year, so the trustees
Yeah.
will have the opportunity to make adjustments.
Yeah, but if there are issues, then we can always go back and, revisit it. And I like to do it before December. I like to have it done in the fall when when it's fresh in our minds, and this way we don't come to this, last minute jockeying back and forth. All right?
Okay.
Does anybody else have any?
No, I think some clear delineation that, as is in here.
Yes.
There are absolutely no refunds.
Yeah, but that's why I asked.
No, that's
I
great.
looked at this, had it printed out, and we can make a better mousetrap. That's what I'm, hopefully will happen from this.
Okay, cool.
All right?
So I can get that resolution drafted. Is that something you would like to see for the next meeting?
Is that possible?
I could try.
All right.
All right, well, let's work on it, so, and then send it over to us so we can all look at it before we,
If we can't get it together for Monday's meeting, then we can certainly do it at the following one, but I know that it's that time of year when people are starting to get ready to purchase their permits.
at least get it in draft form so we can review it. and
Yes.
All give us our, look at it and give us an opinion, all right?
That's great.
Okay. So I have, James is in here, so this is gonna be difficult.
They should be renewals,
Yes.
hopefully, so.
Which one?
Every permit I worked on all week was a bear. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Every
well,
one I
All
worked
right,
on
so
was-
I have, I remember this one.
I know, sometimes they're
5 Middle Pond Lane, it's a renewal, William Gazak,
We'll do 5 Middle Pond Lane,
yes.
Alan Sosney. That's what it says on the agenda. Well, Alan Sosney is an attorney, so I don't know if he's representing.
Oh, is the
It is right
owner?
here, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I got the previous owner,
Yeah.
yeah, Alice Sozzi, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. It's to renew trustee permit number WRC 00046 to reconstruct and reconfigure the existing dock structure thereon. The new dock structure will consist of fixed elevated catwalk, 4 feet above, 4 feet wide, 55 feet long, supported by 16 pilings, 6-inch, include 2 pass and repass steps on either side, 4 by 6, each one, hinged ramp, 3 feet by 15 feet long, floating dock, 6 by 20, secured by 4 8-inch pilings. Basically, and then there's some more, all hardware to be hot dip galvanized, on material to be non-treated, all decking to be open grate, designed through flow interlocking panels. Additionally, the existing rip wrap along the seaward face of the seawall and concrete remains below the dock are to be removed, taken to appropriate upland location, disposed of, and recycled. Any portion of the seawall and any portions of the seawall with native vegetation, American beach grass to be replanted. So I recommend that we reapprove this.
You know,
It's a good one, yes, renew it. So,
Okay.
Okay, all in favor? Good.
just
So
advance it, right?
We'll advance it, yep, okay.
I have John Potter, it's a second renewal for 169 Shore Road. It's
Anything
just a
changed?
catwalk, nothing's changed.
Okay.
Actually, it's built already. I think he did. Did he get all his permits yet?
Okay.
So, go ahead on this
Renew
one.
it,
Oh, we're gonna renew it then.
advance it.
Advance it. All
That's it.
right, thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
I got Daniel Levine, 55 Covers End Road, North Haven, and consultants. We got a recall and table. There's a problem with the height of this.
How are we going to address these heights? Being that I've asked for correspondence from the Army Corps, or the board has. Bill and I have asked previously, and our other boards have asked previously, and have gotten literally nowheres with there's no information coming back.
Yeah, it's one way.
Are we going to hold all of these permits in perpetuity? Basically, that's,
I don't think we can.
Nope.
It's not fair to the people.
Right.
that's what's going to happen, because the Army Corps, as I've tried to deal with them, have not been, there's been nothing back to us. Bill, I mean, have you heard of any of your projects? I mean, it's really frustrating.
Well, the only thing we could do, since it's a federal agency, is perhaps go through the same channels that have helped us with the MECOX and maybe put a letter off to the congressman's office and ask them to respond to us one way or another, so we can take a direction where they're entertaining what our, research is showing, or they're denying, and then I think based on that, maybe, since there's nothing coming back, I think we need to force them to either give us some explanation so that we can make a fair determination.
So they're accountable.
Right. So I think that's really what we should do. I know we've relied on our ability to access the congressman's office and get help in that, but we're going to have to do it on this issue now.
How are these applications and, permits that are outstanding in front of us, are they just going to languish around for years?
No, we can't allow it.
I
Since
mean-
they're not getting back to us, I think we're going to have to.
I mean, the standards that Mr. Levine was approved for, 4 feet above, was our standards prior to us.
It's also the Village of North Haven standards, too.
And it's the DEC standards, because I've done a little bit of research. So everybody's standards are on the same plane, except for the Army Corps not getting back with any
But
information.
when we changed, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we changed the Blue Book, didn't we put language in there that
It was-
says
it was language-
site-specific changes are possible, right?
So we kept language that we had that gives the trustees flexibility.
Yes.
So it says with a majority vote of the board, the board could approve something that has a
So we
4 foot.
can, the
You
ones
can
that
still
come.
vary section 54 of the Blue Book.
Right.
Um,
So we can, the ones that are coming before us now, that have been before us sort of in a holding pattern for a while,
I-
I feel like we have to move them.
I agree,
And-
because
And we have the basis to do it.
we have sat on
So-
these, some of these applications for a year, so I
But-
don't think it's fair.
Have
to-
we,
Come on up.
I know James sent in the packet. but-
I called them on Thursday. I mean, I came in, and I have not heard from Ron Pinzone. I've not heard from anybody at the Army Corps, not one. And prior to that, I've had conversations with Amanda Schweitzer. She was the person that I was dealing with there, and basically, we were trying to lower them, because the way our Blue Book read, we site-specific, and we were going with the through-flow decking, knocking them down, and then all of a sudden, the Army Corps came through with their new standards, which I know have been put forward for a couple of years, but now they're basically set in stone.
Well, you know what, it's a work session, we really can't,
No.
But the bottom line is that they've been working pretty tight with us on this formal consultation, incidental take situation, so that MECOX management plan during endangered species program perhaps will be more manageable and flexible for everybody. So they've been working on that pretty hard with us. Perhaps we need to get somebody, at the other level to say, look, can you respond to us on this one way or the other? What's the rationale? Everyone else is at this standard.
Right.
You guys are at another. We're waiting for an answer.
Well,
Progress has stopped.
Well, this particular one, which Suzanne's here, they're at the stage where they're starting to button up the house. And when this first came in, it was 11/5/2018 tabled, 12 tabled, January tabled, January again tabled. Here it is March, we're going to table it again?
When did we get that packet over
We
there?
submitted the application in September.
Okay.
When did James send it?
Yes.
In January, I believe. So that was when everything was
But
closed.
we still got a second hurdle. The Village of North Haven, their requirement's 4 foot. So we still got to get them to change too.
They might change a lot easier than the Army Corps.
Right.
Corps is not going to change.
I talked to the mayor. No.
Well, the DEC's gone the 4-foot standard too.
That's their standard even with the open grate decking now.
So it looks like,
The Army Corps tells me, and I think I forwarded that email to you,
Yes.
that it's not even their decision. It's Marine Fisheries.
National Marine Fisheries.
In dealing with, we've dealt with the MECOX, it's a lot of running around everybody's point.
black
everybody else,
hole.
And the The applicants are stuck in the middle. and
Yeah.
the trustees are stuck in the middle.
I feel bad, I mean, I think we should move on these, and because it's our standards that we had previously had, set 4 feet. I mean, we do, we tried to go to 3 feet, and we tried to give proof to the Army Corps, but they're not willing to recognize, they want, from what I understand, they want somebody to actually do a scientific project with a 4-foot dock and a 3-foot dock, side by side in wetlands, and monitor it for a year.
I thought we gave them good information on that, though, didn't we?
Yeah,
Didn't
but
we
Scott,
provide a lot of good pictures?
it's anecdotal.
They want peer-reviewed
Yeah.
by
That's what
someone
I was-
with a
I get it.
PhD. I mean,
Sorry.
We're trustees, we live in the common sense world over here.
Yeah, but-
yeah, I'm not saying they're being logical.
Right. Right.
I know.
Is there any way, though, that you could reach out to them to see, again, Scott, from a
Well,
different
no, we
angle?
absolutely can, because that's how we've gotten this far
Yeah.
on this end. I mean, we like you say, the flexibility is there, so we could clearly,
So if we can approve
We clearly
individual
can, yeah.
situations where we can move them ahead, because
Yeah.
I know that Rob also has
Absolutely.
he's concerned
You're still
about.
empowered under the Blue Book in
Right.
section
Absolutely.
54, on a case-by-case basis, the
Right.
trustees can approve, as long as they do it by a majority, something that differs from the now 3-foot height requirements in the Blue Book.
And we can make very clear that we are in favor of the 3-foot, but in interests of expediency, I don't know.
well,
that
it's just,
word,
the folks can't,
Yeah.
yeah, fairness, they can't
Yeah.
do their projects if everything doesn't
I'd like
line
to
up.
I'd like to move it ahead from.
Me too.
For the meeting, and let us have a vote on it,
Yep.
one way or another,
Yep.
see where the board stands. We'll do a roll call vote if that's.
You go with that, Suzanne?
And
I
then,
will
and then we'll see,
Yeah, the recall.
and then we'll continue to have correspondence with, the Army Corps.
At a different level.
So are you saying that you want to have a resolution to recall the resolution and then see if it's defeated, or just let Levine? What happened was, at our previous meeting, the trustees approved a resolution for Levine as it's been presented with the 4-foot height.
Okay.
So what's on the work session today is to discuss whether or not the trustees were going to recall that resolution, basically take back the approval, and continue to table it. So if what you're saying is we're gonna look at all the other applications that have also been tabled, because we have, if we do this for Levine, then we would have to do that for all the other applications
Yes.
that
Yes.
we've been tabling with 4-foot height.
So this has already been approved.
This has already been approved, so if what the board is, yeah,
It wasn't intended.
there was a
to be
resolution
approved.
Back in November.
No.
March 18th.
Oh,
on March 18th.
it was approved at 4-foot height?
Yeah.
Oh,
But I think this is a renewal, right?
no.
No.
So then
No,
it's-
instead of tabling it, I guess, for whatever reason, none of us picked up on that it was something that we would have continued to table.
let it go.
It got adopted. So I guess what we're saying here is that we're gonna take a look at all the other ones that we've been tabling.
I agree.
And act on them.
Site
Yes.
specific.
Site specific to each one.
So it
Okay.
sounds like, so let me just pull the board right here.
Yes.
Do you wanna see a resolution recalling the approval of Levine at 4 feet?
No,
No.
All right,
but I don't see anything like that on my,
your March 18th?
there's nothing about no March in there.
Yeah, you
February.
probably don't have the most up-to-date copy. I'll get it for you, Bruce. I have
Okay,
it.
no biggie.
You
Okay,
know what? It's actually attached to the front of the file. That's the resolution from March 18th.
okay.
What
And
does
that
it
was
say?
voted on
So you-
and approved.
Says
Yeah.
resolve the Board of Trustees coming out of town of Southampton hereby authorize the president to sign, secretary to sign a permit of Daniel Levine to construct a 4x6 step,
Do you have any of
4x56
these in
walkway. Yes,
Oh, I think
they did.
Problem
My
solved.
area is so small.
Okay.
Okay,
So small.
You can make
Yeah,
up
you're
more.
ahead of the game.
one down.
Awesome.
You can have more.
Maybe you could tell Rob that we'll see.
You'll move ahead Harris too?
Oh, they started
Next, it has to be
redoing the
next time though.
Okay.
Yeah, but in the same way.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I replied really quickly, but I said that I would get back, I would check with everybody.
Okay. So that should be on the next work session
Right,
to consider that.
right.
Yeah, he called me.
April
No, they're two.
6th, maybe, I'm not sure when it
Okay.
is, but something.
All right, I'll let him know.
Okay.
We have to get the.
Anything on the trustee structure?
So-
Yeah.
So that's just
Did you email
a
that
moot
to me or
point.
someone else?
It's moot, right?
All right, so I'll put in my North Haven application on this one.
Well, then it's supposed to.
All good.
All right,
Dean?
thank you.
Maybe Martha.
Thank
All
you.
right, with Martha about it.
Would you like to contact Mr. Levine?
I'll call him this afternoon.
Thank you.
I have one here for 361 Dune Road LLC. This application is to renew a permit WRC 00024 originally issued as permit 10924 for the construction of a 4 by 87.5 beach walkway. I went to the building department. They do have an active permit for that, but since April 1st is right around the corner, I don't know what they're going to be able to do.
Can they do the project if they have a monitor oversee it? Or is that something that we would hold off?
This is a long step, 87.5 feet beach walkway.
Is it over the dunes?
It's from the house, it's to the dune.
Yeah. So most of it's gonna be done, they're not gonna drive any trucks down to the beach.
It won't be able to,
No.
Everything's gonna come from the
From the
house.
house, yeah.
right.
They can do it up to, when they hit the dune, they have to have a type of clover monitor.
Yeah,
That's what we did a couple times with First Coastal.
yeah, they would need a monitor once they got over the crest of the dune.
Okay,
All right,
so we'll move it ahead?
yep,
With that language?
yes.
There's added language?
Just that, once they get to the crest of the dune? that no
April
piping-
1st, they would need a plover monitor to go down here and do a sweep
So that's a special condition you're adding?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Martha, will you help me with that? Sure. Okay.
during the plover season.
And that's 361 Dune Road LLC, right, Bruce?
You know,
Do they have permits from other agencies?
Yeah.
Because usually,
no
Yes.
vehicles on the.
Right,
That one,
that
the building
addresses the
department
same.
added, no, that's
Can't stack any
361
materials on the beach.
Dune Road,
Yeah.
William Rudden.
But that's the one you want the special
Hey,
condition?
Martha?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
On the resolution, they have to, no vehicles, and they cannot stack any materials on the beach.
Okay.
Or has to come from the house, carried out, pre-cut.
Did you get that, Lisa?
Could you repeat that, please, Bruce, Bill?
No vehicles on the beach, and they cannot stack any materials on the beach. Has to come from the house.
Stack, S-T-A-C-K, stack? in
Yes.
this?
yeah,
Stack or storage of any materials? on the
yes.
beach.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks.
This is one of yours, Billy. 1141 Dune Road.
Hey, everybody.
We're gonna have to put this one on hold. I checked with the building department, this is pending.
Got that?
There's been no permit issued for them.
I'm sorry, Bruce, are we on 1141 Flying Point Road?
Yes,
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
Sembahar,
yep,
Is this new or is this a renewal?
first renewal,
first renewal.
but
I went and saw Teresa and it's pending environment.
What does that mean?
She said that it says pending. In other words, you need another application. One must maybe expired.
Yeah, we're renewing hers as well.
Yeah, it's not renewed, so we can't go forward with it right now.
Okay, cool. I know that we had the application prepared and submitted.
She's got it on a desk and it's not there. She's not ready to review it yet. There's
Okay.
you in front of, it's there, but that's why I went to see her and make sure we weren't gonna have no errors.
Okay.
So,
So, just to get it right, you guys only approve permits if there's an existing building permit? Or,
well, you gotta have one with,
Environmental
you gotta
division.
have the one with the other, don't you?
Well,
Trying to
maybe
get
give me a
what
little context on this application, Billy.
he's trying to say.
it's a dune walkover that we got a permit from your,
Is that attached to the house? Was it-
no, it's independent of the house, actually.
And
This is
it's
a-
got a trustee permit covering it?
It's an extension,
This is 141,
141, yeah.
Flying Point.
Yeah,
Perform dune restoration by placing approximately 3,500 cubic yards of clean beach compatible sand on a eroded part.
okay, and so the walkway's already been, walkway was signed off on. That was a different permit, okay.
the
I don't
trust-
have the file in front of
The
me.
trustee
I
permit is
apologize.
for a dune restoration?
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering why it's independent, or why it is dependent on the
It shouldn't
town's
be.
permit.
No?
I mean, it,
No, no.
so under chapter 325 of the town code, which is the wetlands permitting, It says that, if you have a trustee permit covering the work that's being done, you don't need a wetlands permit. There's no such thing as concurrent jurisdiction.
Okay.
So I don't know what the underlying application is that they may have with the Town Environment Division. Do you have any more information about that, Bruce?
It's sitting on her desk, but let me read the whole thing, so then we're on the same page. This is one, perform dune restoration by placing approximately 3,500 cubic yards of clean, beach-compatible sand on a rotted dune. To plant grass, 12 on center. Dune restoration will be performed after September 1st, 2019, and before March 31st, 2020. To install 99, 2 rows of fencing. Install 20 by 2 temporary stairway in the spring to be removed by November 1st, 2019. If full dune restoration has not been performed, temporary stairs will be reinstalled before March 1st, 2020, and removed before November 1st, 2020. To install 80 by 4 permanent stairway to be installed after the full dune restoration project has been completed, and the town of Southampton trustees will be notified 7 days prior to commencement of the work. No treated materials, stakes to be placed on the beach where the fencing will be located.
Sounds all compliant, right?
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's all
I haven't
compliant.
Oops.
Sorry.
renewal.
It's a
Yeah,
renewal.
It's a renewal.
And it's, I think what the, Teresa's got on her desk is the coastal erosion permit. It's not
Okay.
the environmental permit, so
Okay.
it's different.
Okay.
Should be okay then.
Yeah, it should be fine.
I haven't been down there in a bit. How much of that built back in?
Like 4 or 5 feet. Not a lot. Yeah, there's still a massive, I mean, they lost 80 feet of dune.
Yes.
Those,
Oh, I'm aware.
like 3 or 4 houses right there.
Yeah.
So they are looking to do something. I know they were trying to coordinate with the trustees for access to the sand to do that in the future. That's still pending, obviously.
Yeah, everything going on at Mecox.
Yeah, so it's related to that. And they would like to keep this permit active so they can actually, restore the dune if and when.
Sounds good.
Sounds like it fits
Yeah,
everything.
I'd say we're going to advance it.
thank you.
Next one is 1100 Flying Point Road.
Yeah, that's almost an
That's a
identical.
renewal too.
Yeah, that's 2 houses away with a very similar situation.
So it's another dune
Yeah,
restoration?
nothing's
The renewal.
changed, nothing's changed, so.
We haven't,
it
put
should
the
be-
temporary stairs in and that's about it. So
You good?
we're waiting.
Yeah, it should be advanced if it's the same.
Yep, thank you.
We're advancing that, Bruce?
Yep.
Thank you.
Get another one.
Next one is another renewal. Another one of yours, Billy, in Sag Harbor, Glover Street.
That's a dock, and we're just looking to renew that.
No changes?
No changes.
Construct a 4x58 catwalk, 3x12 ramp, 6x20 float, 2 8-inch diameter securing pylons. Float to be secured by pylons by galvanized steel hoops. The catwalk will be decked with open grate decking. No treated wood to be used.
All right. Fits the blue book, no changes?
Yep.
Should be advanced.
That's Glover LLC, Bruce?
Yes,
Okay, and we're advancing.
yes.
Okay.
That should be actually Silly Drive.
By Silly Drive, yeah.
That's the name of the road. It's not on Glover Street.
Well, that's,
no, that's the,
Glover is the
Oh,
That's the
okay.
LLC.
property ownership.
Yeah,
It's
just
14
held-
Vasily
it says-
Drive Avenue.
right.
That's
It
the
says right
That's the
there.
address.
address, but it's an LLC, Glover
Yeah,
LLC.
confusing, I get, yeah, right.
I got you.
Because same thing with the next one.
Okay, next one's 1131
Right,
Flying
More
Point Road.
confusing. Right.
Huh?
Next one is even more confusing, Daniels Lane LLC.
That's his prior house.
For
Yeah,
for
yeah.
1131
That's right.
Flying Point.
That's right.
This is the first renewal. Nothing's changed on this one?
Nothing's changed, and that's the house that's in between 1100 and 1141. So
He
it's
probably wished he
500.
stayed in the other house.
Okay.
So that should be
More
More
advanced then.
sand. Yeah, there's more sand there.
Yeah,
They all should be advanced, those should be
it's
advanced.
so funny because he buys that house and lost the sand. Like
I
2
got
days
one
after
more,
it closed.
one more,
Not good.
We're advancing 1131 Flying Point, Bruce?
please.
Thank you.
Redwood Anchorage, 40 Redwood Road, Sag Harbor, New York. Reconstruct in kind in place 166 feet existing bulkhead using vinyl sheathing, no treated wood to be used. Establish 10-foot wide stone buffer in area landward of bulkhead. Plant native species only in the existing 6x16 planter.
This is not a renewal.
No.
This is new.
This is new.
This is new.
Can we please do, rather than the stone, can we please do native vegetation?
We can, sure, we can, this is Redwood Anchorage Marina.
He's trying to match.
Yeah, and there is, it's all stone right now.
Right.
Is it a parking lot
Commercial.
that comes
It's a
up?
parking lot.
It's a parking lot that comes up to a,
They have bumpers to keep it away from the bulkhead,
Like
Yeah.
8 feet.
but.
Could you do paths
Well,
through?
this is why he's got the planter. He raised, when you first come in there, he's got planters, he's already redone the bulkhead on this side. Now, this is the one in the front,
Yeah,
so I asked that something be put in the front, and he said a planter with native vegetation, get rid of the stones underneath there and just put stones around it. And I said, that's a great thing to keep the cars away from going overboard into the drink. And there's also a ramp
right.
to the left of that.
Yeah, yeah.
is that where
So-
the row, where the
Yeah, exactly, it's right next to the rowing.
sculling place?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So we are putting the native vegetation in the planters that
planters.
he
But-
was not, it was originally not native, so we are switching that out, yeah.
Right, but it's not in the ground.
Well, it's a planter box that keeps people from driving
Right.
into the water.
So when a northeaster comes along and floods the property, the plants will survive and not get drowned out?
Maybe.
Yes.
Well, that's a terrible, I mean, I've been down there with that whole entire
Underwater.
underwater, I
Yeah.
mean, literally
Whole street.
2 feet of water,
Totally.
you know. The only
Well,
thing
that's
was,
a tough
floating
spot
was
down
the PLNG.
Yeah, and we right. This bulkhead, actually, if you guys remember, we replaced into the marina section, the inland section, 2 years ago.
Yep.
And now, due to budgetary constraints, he's now available to do the seaward section, or the north section.
Okay. We can advance it?
So we good on it?
It's a blue
I'm
book.
fine.
Yep.
It's tough down there getting,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is tough. It's a tough environment. as we-
well, he's done a lot of good things. He's got rid of all the treated CCA docks and all the
He does
treated
no
lumber and,
mechanical
you know,
work.
it's,
Yeah,
clean.
yeah, it's,
yeah, he
he's,
does a really good job.
25 years ago, that place was not a very nice marina.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now it's a good place.
All the drainage is perfect now.
Yeah.
It's really good, yeah.
So he's done a good job. All right.
All right, I guess that's it. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you,
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bruce.
Is he gonna address that ramp in the near future?
That's been on the list of things to do. We have a DEC permit for him to repair that.
Because he's got 2 steel I-beams going into the water,
Yeah, yeah,
which are really in bad shape.
yeah, yeah. He knows he's got to deal with that, too. I think that's on his list of things to do.
But it's a well-kept
It is.
marina.
Yeah, he has a
Really
nice
well kept.
operation. He really does. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Good, Bill.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
I got another one for 55 Ambleside LLC, Bridgehampton, New York. This is a new permit for the second year of Common Reed Management Sea Enclosed Permit, which expires the 29th of this month, 2019. We've approved this before. This is Jim from Inner Science. And I think it's turning out wonderful, and the native vegetation is actually coming back slowly but surely. So he's wants to keep up with it, so more comes.
So we're doing this in conjunction with the Conservation Board?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a good permit.
And are there several cuttings?
This
that
is only
they
his
do?
second one.
Okay, second year,
Second year doing
cutting.
it, yeah,
Okay,
yep.
so they cut at the beginning of the season.
I think so.
It takes a while. for the
Really
stuff to
takes a
grow.
while.
Well, that's why if we manage the salinity
Are we
and
advancing
mecox
that?
and open
Yes,
it
please.
more often and drain it and keep the
Yep.
salinity up, the Phragmites will move back instead of moving in. So that's, you know. All right,
I got one more for discussion.
Oh, yes.
Was contacted by Global Boarding. This is also, we approved this before to use 51 Pine Neck, the ramp,
53.
53.
I have a copy.
Okay.
That was 53.
I think it's 53. I think it's.
It probably is, because it says, okay, I see it. Man, these people, I thought I wrote like a doctor. Anyway, it is 53. This is similar to what Joe was here 2 weeks ago. They pick up, they drop off there. This particular gentleman does have boats at that marina. We've had no complaints about him or Joe. His permit is all filled out, the insurances are produced, and so I see no reason not to advance it.
It has the same terms that we granted to
Joe.
Potomac Water Sports a couple weeks ago. Same dates, same terms, same requirements. For insurance, they're exactly the same in terms of the scope and the substance of the agreement that we would have a resolution on next week to authorize the president to sign. And he's someone that we've already done a license agreement with in the past.
It was a pretty good operation. I'll see it. Okay.
All right.
Ed, you want Jessica to come up to speak to the
Yes.
fish fikes? You have them there.
Yep, I have 4 applications for Michael DePerdy. The first application is for a fish trap, Shinnecock Hills by Lenape Road, Eastern Shinnecock Bay. I spoke to Richie Franks, and he's made sure that it's within the fish trap zone that the Army Corps has designated for the embayments of the town and all the state waters. So I, like to have it approved or move it forward for approving.
Are these sites, they've been sites before?
Yes, this site, it was in my family since,
So you got them from someone else?
it came from me, Bill.
Okay.
It was in my family since the 38 hurricane, or prior, just shortly after that.
Do you have any fish for other people to fish here?
There's plenty of fish. This is a fish trap in eastern Shinnecock, west of the East Cut, behind the Sand Island. It's approximately about 500 feet, or maybe a little bit more, west of Kenny Maids' set in Shinnecock Bay. So it's another area that has historically had fish traps in it.
So we're advancing 332 and 333?
335 and 334 so far.
Okay, so you're going in
And
reverse.
it's 333 next. This application is for a fish trap in Carmen Point, another one of my family's sets, so it's been fished for generations, so I recommend that we approve that one.
Okay.
And then fish trap 332, it's an application for a fike. It's in the southeast corner of Shinnecock Bay. I'm assuming it's off of the boathouse, or where the boathouse used to be. It's another one of mine sites, so I recommend we approve that
And
also.
it does have a lot on there.
They all have lats and
Right. So,
longitudes, so when we have our map put up, we can have these specifically on there. And we'll try to do a color code for each one of the trap sites for specific to the Bayman.
Yeah, all of them right now are GPS. They're all on Land Manager. If you guys ever want to go on, take a look. Ross and James from GIS have done a really good job of helping me put all that stuff online for the public and you guys to see, and the Bay Constables. I think it will be really helpful. I think it might be helpful to add that Army Corps area that you're just talking about.
It's on a navigational map.
Okay, maybe we can coordinate, me and you, and I can talk to GIS, because I think
Yep.
that would be really helpful.
Overlay it, yes.
Yeah, just have an overlay,
Yep.
totally.
Okay?
What's
Okay.
the time frame for these?
What-
When do they go in? When do they come out?
Normally, they would be put in the first week or so of March. That's when I used to set the traps, and we would always have them out just, by, Memorial Day or shortly after. I think it's July 1st is our date.
Yeah.
I don't have the blue book in front of me,
And
but
once in a while, they come in certain,
extensions.
for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know when
I think it's July 1st.
I think it's July 1st.
Okay.
So, by then, the fish have migrated through, the fish that we catch in Shinnecock Bay
They're
are
gone.
migratory, they migrate in and they go through the canal and basically Peconic. So, depending on the water temperature, if it gets really warm really quick, at the end of June, they pretty much leave, so.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you, Jessica.
Thanks,
thank you
Jess.
so much.
Thanks.
Does anybody else have anything right now? I do have There was a seal washed up in Shinnecock Bay at the county park in the bay. I was contacted last night by the Marine Center to get it removed. Richie Franks was on, I called him. Him and I believe the maintenance guys went down there today. It was removed and taken out, and they were going to do a necropsy on it to see what the cause of death was, so it's all been taken care of.
Just because I came in late, the executive session,
We waited
does
for you.
this?
We waited for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, yes. So,
Lee Cox?
any thoughts?
Yeah, can you talk about Lee Cox? or-
Yes.
I think so.
What are we looking at me for?
Lee Cox discussion? Right, we're up against a potential closure?
Our date is the 31st, but we have no weekends included in the contract with Chesterfield. So if it's going to be done, it's going to be done on the 29th.
Correct.
Our guys are going to get out there on Friday, remove the fence that's 3/4 way buried. And they're going to put poles back up with signs all over the poles, because there's a lot of sand right by that the fencing where it's been that they can get and smooth out. I've called the woman 2-3 times. She's not calling me back. I pleaded with her to try to leave it open. I don't know where we're at with that.
As per the recommendation of the Army Corps and Fish and Wildlife, correct?
Yes.
Yes, but the DEC is taking a different,
Well, so the DC, when they issue their emergency openings, they'll leave like a hard date where it has to be closed, where they don't grant extensions past, right? So we have been given extensions up to that date, and now we've reached that March 31st date where they said no more extensions would be given under that particular emergency authorization. So tomorrow, my first thing is to draft a new request for an emergency authorization, which I'll submit, and hopefully they can act on it before we waste Chesterfield's time and money.
James, having been out in the field, has,
James, because he's away now, he and I met and talked yesterday, and he sent me all the documentation that I need to prepare the letter.
okay.
In light of the weather that we've had for the last 18 months and the height of the groundwater, if we were to close the inlet today and we didn't get any more precipitation for a week, it would probably be a foot higher, just on the groundwater that's lying around the bay. The last time we closed it, it filled up pretty quickly, and we didn't even have a storm event. With a storm event, we're going to be asking probably by the 1st of July to have it open, some mechanism to have it open. That's my biggest fear.
Ed, how long do you think it would take for the bay to gain a foot just from the groundwater intrusion?
Probably by a week. As it is right now, probably about a week.
Okay, yeah, that's something I'll put in my
As
letter.
long as there's, like, if there's any kind of rain,
Rain, if you got a 1-inch rain event, you
It'll
got
be
3
quicker.
inches.
We're supposed to get rain on Sunday, and then there's 2 days of rain next week.
3 inches, I mean.
Sure, but coming into the spring rain
and I
season.
think also if you have a swell, I think a lot of water comes in through the swell.
It would overwash.
Sure.
But it's a
Comes through the
3-to-1, it's a 3-to-1 increase. Every inch of rain, you get 3 inches of elevation change in there.
Okay.
And it's, we're in a good place right now. If we could keep it open until it closes, and hopefully it would close by the end of April, and then,
Fish would be happy.
Natural
oh, and there are alewives in there. I mean, that's, keeping it open is gonna give us a huge,
You might want to put that in your.
I plan on putting that we have spawning fish entering the bay right now.
yep, which are
In danger.
endangered, yes, under the state.
Then we have the birds.
Are they under the state or the federal?
State.
The state has it closed, and it's a federal too.
All right, so I'll just, I was
That's why
planning on
they should-
adding something about the alewives.
Yep.
Yeah.
And do we have, I'm just
And we have
trying to think
feed
in
the
terms
bull
of,
eagles with alewives.
What's that?
do we have any photographs of alewives, or where does our evidence come that alewives are in the
Yeah,
bay?
You might be able to get them from the people who monitor them way up by the
Yeah,
mill there.
yeah, I wonder if
Byron Young.
Byron Young.
Yeah, there's
Normally, I would ask the
Maybe a
local
couple of
bayman that
people.
wholesale the perch in there, but I haven't seen them in there in a month or so.
It has to be
So-
photographic and.
No, in
It
fact,
doesn't-
if we could
because-
have a letter from Byron Young attesting that alewive are coming into Mecox to spawn.
Yes.
yeah, that might
Byron Young or Peconic Estuary Program, that would be
anyone who-
another,
Or
because they're,
Sea Duck Group also
You know, I
did
just-
the,
well, Peconic Estuary has an alewive monitoring
Right.
system, so their
Well,
data, they're
is if-
collecting data, so
If we don't
whomever.
have photographs, then,
Okay, a letter from
anything
you
that
then.
would sort of, again, attest to the presence of the alewives
Okay.
in Mecox Bay.
I'll give a
Okay.
couple of local fishermen a call and see if they're wholesaling in there. If they
Yeah.
are, I'll ask them
All
to
they
take
need to do
pictures.
is send an email to
Yep.
you, and you can forward it to me. The more information I have to give the DEC for the emergency request, the
Yes.
better it is.
Yes.
This contract that we got with Chesterfield, we've run into this time and time again where we can't use them on a Saturday. I think in the near future, we gotta work something out with them.
Yeah, because we're working off of a different contract. We're working
Correct.
Piggyback.
Correct. But, you try to plan, because it's Monday through Friday, it's a 2-day event, and he thinks he can close it one day, which is a good thing, but you never know if the water comes up, or it opens it
Storm.
up overnight, and then we can't use them on Saturday and Sunday, and Monday's April 1st, but we tried.
Yeah, well, I think that's what we try to, I mean, we've tried to explain the closing process to a lot of people. I've been in a couple situations, as Billy has, and I think Scott was on the board too, where we closed it and spent almost $20,000, and what did it last, 12 hours, Bill?
That's Mother Nature.
You know, and it completely washed all the sand away. So it's not an easy task sometimes.
Okay.
All right, so I'd like to go and, this, from Joe Lombardo, our attorney.
I have
a chance to talk about
sign.
this?
Would this be an executive session, or can we just discuss it as far as,
You can discuss it because, it's really about retaining Joe Lombardo for
yep,
legal representation. As long as you're not discussing litigation strategy or the facts of the case, then there's really no reason.
just his pay?
It's his pay, and we would have a resolution on that anyway, authorizing.
And it'll be, yeah, well, I mean, this is his proposal, if we were all agreeable to it. I mean, did everybody get a
Yeah,
chance?
I'm fine with it.
Get a chance to read it?
I looked at it, I'm fine with it, and I did provide everybody with copies of fund balance and with the revenue flows for the first couple of months of the year, with comparisons on there, 17, 18, 19, just so that you could see from a financial standpoint where we're at, okay?
Yeah, I'd like to have Joe hired so that we can use him for, some of the other stuff that we need him also, and, the clam issue with the state and any other stuff that comes before the board that, Martha's a good attorney, but there are times that, her interests might be not aligned with the trustees, with the town, and so if we're put into that situation, it would be nice to have a person like Joe, who's a past town attorney and has worked with the trustees for...
I think it's greater than just would be nice to have. I think it's stronger than that. I think it's the fact that as trustees of a trust, one of the primary functions is to assure loyal legal counsel, and there are times when, not that you're conflicted, just that the conflict may
I
arise.
understand that.
And Joe would be working solely for the trustees, and then the trustees could assure, the trust that we have, this non-conflicted legal counsel representing us in this. I think it's important for us to have that. We're going to be having conversations with the town board about
Yes.
tax line and how we share expenses and how we share services and whatnot. And, Martha works, she's on both sides of that equation, so it's good that we have somebody that's, in our court. So I think it's more than just nice. I think it's something that is imperative for the trustees.
And Mr. Lombardo will be lead counsel with Mr. Khan?
That is going to be a discussion that Richard and Joe
We'll have to,
We'll have
will have
personal.
together to
Okay.
see how it's going to all play out.
Okay.
I've contacted Richard about 3 weeks ago, asked him to call Joe. I contacted him again yesterday and left him a voicemail, but I'm going to give, after we're out of this meeting, call Richard's son Daniel, who he works with in the law firm, and get a conversation between Joe and Mr. Khan.
Cool.
So we know exactly where we stand, okay?
Okay, great.
Was there a meeting, or I know there was information compiled from the police chief to the town board? Did that meeting ever take place for getting the Bay Constable's extra help for the summer?
No, that, meeting with actual statistics and timing and frames, anything greater than anecdotal has not been put together to my knowledge, nor have we scheduled a meeting between myself and the chief and the town board. I was waiting on actual hard numbers. I know from our office, there was some folks working on it. I know that Senior Constable Tizzolo was working with some folks over in the PD on getting numbers of calls and getting, actual statistics. I have not seen to this day any of that, and I think really, if we're going to have a conversation, we're going to need those facts, we're going to need those statistics to have a realistic conversation, but it hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
Did you want to speak about the meeting next Tuesday?
Well,
Like a joint?
we're having a joint session to discuss the legislation that is before the Assembly and the Senate over the trustees having a, this tax district or tax line or similar to that of a library or a fire district in terms of how we interact. I'm hoping to have a good, productive, constructive meeting of folks that are wanting to see good things for the trustees and the town, and and a good representation of respect for each other's authorities and jurisdiction and how we best handle those things. So I think it's a great opportunity whenever the two boards can get together and, take a look at, issues or potential issues, and in a proactive fashion, have good conversation to serve the people that we all represent. I think it's a good thing.
With some numbers that
Well, Len has put
generated some rough draft.
He has rough draft numbers, but, that's a starting point, obviously. We need to have, some conversations. I think, not everything is all understood when it comes to the Board of Trustees. I know in conversations with the public, many times they still don't fully understand what the trustees are and what they do, and, the delineation between us and other townships, and why it's, it's so important that you understand it's a great place, Southampton Town, and it's great that you have this whole set of lands, these underwater lands and waterways and these roads and this beach access easement that's held in trust by the trustees for everybody in the town to enjoy. And you got to respect that, and you got to find ways to take care of that and protect it. It's such an important part of all of our quality of life and our property values, obviously, quite frankly. Good, healthy marine environment and a great, big, wide, sandy beach for everybody to enjoy is why, we're all here. So, this is the board that's really, protecting and defending that, and, whatever tools are necessary and how we could all best work together, is a good thing. So April 2nd, I think it's 1 o'clock. It's a great thing. And it's also great that the Assembly and the Senate are, recognizing that there's a need to take some type of an action. And again, these are not easy. They're complex things, and that's why, if anything was to occur, it had 2 years of, time to implement it, because it's going to take some time. There's a lot of moving parts here. So it's great. First step, great meeting.
I think we should all come prepared with questions. Think about what you're going to say, and, because I know there's a lot of questions that we all have as far as moving forward, and Bill brought some up at the town board meeting, and I think it's, when we have a joint session, I think we should each have a set of questions for, the supervisor and the board as we move forward in this process, because I don't want to be standing out in the cold with no place to go, sit and do my work. So.
Well, yeah, of course not. I mean, the trustees are one of the most important tools the town has.
$5, Scott, I heard it before.
Well, I know, you've lived it. You've lived it, I know. And that's why I think it's important for people to understand the function and authority, the importance of the trustees. I think everybody needs to respect And,
Yes.
you know, that's the way to go.
I have two things to
Okay.
send you to the board. Number one, Christine Fenton has sent me an email regarding with all the construction that's going on in Town Hall. The access that the trustees would need. Currently, she has the board listed as business extended hours, which would be Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., that the board would have access to Town Hall. If you want all access, which is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's something that I could bring to her attention. I don't know.
24 hours.
Yeah, we're gonna need,
You want the 24 hours?
We
Does
do.
each
We don't know
board
what's
member
going
want
to go on.
24 hours?
Yeah, we got to be able to move about the country freely here,
yeah.
you know? We got important work to do.
Okay, James, and the Plover staff, he's still hiring people, so I did mention that to Christine, that they would need access on the weekends. I don't know if they, if it's, would be after hours, but, they do require access to the building on weekends, so, right now we have 2 Plover stewards hired, and there will be 2 more, I'm being told, so,
Can we also maybe get access through our Jackson Avenue building, maybe have a computer hooked up directly there? I know there's a computer for them to do their work there if they can't get access here?
you mean, I believe I believe they
There's
can
Wi-Fi,
access the
yeah.
Wi-Fi.
There is?
Yeah,
Okay,
they're supposed to be,
I'm
they were
Right?
supposed to be there.
Bill, isn't there Wi-Fi there?
We were supposed to have it there.
Right?
I know it's there a
Didn't we
couple
work
of years
on
ago.
this, Bruce?
I don't think there is.
Yeah. I mean, does anybody have a laptop there, though? I don't know. Okay.
Papa John had one, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that they can access the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So you're talking about having like a laptop
'Cause
permanently
what's his
there?
name used to go there.
Or bring his laptop there, because James has
Yeah.
one with him where he can
I
work
believe
remotely.
that, I think Bruce and I did
Emily
address
used
this.
to-
I think
no,
they can access the Wi-Fi.
Mario.
Yes.
Or I used to go there.
Yeah,
So.
but that was years ago, Bill.
Yeah.
Things-
So just a quick update, an end of an era. Uncle Bob's is officially closed, storage unit today. Last 13 boxes were moved. Big thank you to Town Clerk Sunday Schermeyer for providing her records management staff, vehicles, expertise. 80 boxes were moved to records management in Hampton Bays. They're going to be inventoried. The contents will be listed, and the board will receive a copy of that. It's going to take a while for her staff to go through that. And over 100 boxes were moved here into the space downstairs on the lower level. So this was a group effort with marine maintenance staff, town hall maintenance staff, myself, records management. This was, no pun intended, a heavy lift.
Thank you,
But
Lisa.
we got it done.
Great job.
Yeah, way to go,
Can you
Lisa.
make a list of all the individuals involved? I'd like to
Yes,
thank them at
yes.
our
And
next.
Pat Mullen was with me the
Yep.
entire time, and
On the
he did
board
an
meeting.
outstanding job. John Adams, like I said, the records management staff under Sunday Schermeyer, fantastic, and, even providing the vehicles to transport the records.
It's great.
So some of them use their own vehicles to get the stuff here. So
Like Lisa.
That's great.
should have brought Breck with me, right, Bill?
Yeah.
On the same
He needs a
token,
job.
now that the Plover people are starting again, let's get a party for them.
Yes, we could do that. We'll speak to that.
Okay.
You got to speak to it.
I'll work on the access.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a contract. We just got to work off the contract. We'll get 2 of them now because we've got it, right?
But what are we talking about?
We'll get a male and a female, or just
So far, we only got males, I think.
What are you talking
potty?
about? Water party?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have no ability to,
Well, we do have, but you gotta go into the Parks Department?
Yeah, but that's not,
No,
that's very,
Awkward.
they don't treat our people very good over there.
awkward. But
Yeah.
Alex also offered his building too. But this is, nighttime, early, whatever, and I think we should have our own.
Yeah, Alex
It's
is building-
inexpensive. There's a contract we can work off of, I believe, so we'll
Yes.
just
All right.
take care of that. We just have to indicate where we want to place it,
Okay?
okay?
All right. As long as it doesn't end up in the bay, Scott.
No, it won't be near the bay.
I'll have Richie get a spot ready.
We've got them out of the bay before.
Yeah, all right. Does anybody else have anything else?
No, we just got to go to exec, right?
No, we took care of
Just
this.
did, okay.
So, are we gonna, can you make a formalized resolution for, to hire?
Go for that proposal?
Yes, please. Everybody's agreement. All right. No one else has any other business. I'd like to close the meeting. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.